You're on. Go.
Welcome everyone this afternoon, this lovely afternoon actually, to this one of many global events that are going around the country. They're going on in various cities here in the United States and also in Europe. We have a number of poets and writers speaking out for social justice, and you will be hearing from them shortly. Oh, and my name is Dorothy Friedman-August. I wanted to organize a reading in Brooklyn, and I thought we really need 100,000 poets for change to happen in Brooklyn, and I hope there will be other readings organized by either myself or other people in Brooklyn as well. So I begin, and then I'll start introducing people after that. If we could learn to love each other, if we could say, leave me alone in my grief, or not say, this is the choice, to live outside the human connection, or to connect our despair to others, and invoke all the older poets and the younger ones too, to soar above the sentences, to the land of lexicons, and who knows where else, split open the sea, and find that part of us that is least recognizable and challenge it to tell us all it knows of heaven. And the second piece is called Before and After. Before Reconstruction, Deconstruction, Resurrection, before disenfranchised black voters, before being fully conscious was an art, before the stress of living in this society, before there was a weekly list of Trump's transgressions, before rich white men controlled everything, women suffered in silence and non-white people were subservient, before Lena Horne couldn't play the part of a black woman in Showboat because she was a black woman. Before heterosexuality was obligatory, environmental destruction inevitable, after people developed a deeper connection to one another, after people developed a deeper connection to one another, and found purpose and sometimes joy. Before we were obsessed with guns and the Real Housewives of Beverly Hills, before we regarded women as people, before there was Facebook and Messenger and Twitter, before we worshipped John Wayne and not Emma Goldman or Judith Malina, before 10% of sexual abuse crimes were reported, only 10% were reported, before we valued tight-assed masculinity over communicative femininity, after people developed a deeper connection to one another, and we transcended catastrophe with poetry. Before we killed off all the elks, the buffalo, the Sioux, and the Pawnee, before we didn't see the need for internationalism, before we denied the greenhouse gas effects and leaking fracking sites, before we denied that 3,000 people had died in Puerto Rico from Hurricane Maria, after the wealthy were made to work in coal mines and the miners to live in mansions, after Puerto Rico's food, water, and electricity were restored, after we realized we were all connected to each other, after, let me transcended catastrophe with poetry. Before there was this world with its bloody history, 4 million men died, shell-shocked and locked away in mental asylums. Before broken statues, battered books, and botched civilizations, distortions of messiahs, messiness of non-linearity, before we dislocated ourselves, shifted, withdrew, before much of our language was lost, after we transcended it with poetry. Before the dead rose and returned to see if their sacrifices had been in vain, before we made pilgrimages to war memorials and went searching for a language of mourning, before we wept for our lost ideals, after we transcended catastrophe with poetry. Before our hero began to lose his mind, escape, dream of the dead and their resurrection. Before 50 million people died from 1939 to 1945, before we witnessed the bombings of Hiroshima and Nagasaki, before we witnessed the extermination of the Jews, before the world was perched on a mountain of corpses, before we were still able to express amazement, anger, and bewilderment, before Hitler and Mengele, Kaiser Wilhelm, and Donald Trump. There's a lot about war memorials and a rather lengthy list of them. A little of the war memorials then. After we returned to visit the war memorials, the Holocaust Museum and the African burial grounds, after the dead rose and returned, after Syrian women waited patiently for their husbands to return, and the French children tended graves of Villers-Breton, the war memorials at Cambridgeshire, the trenches of Bayonet of Verdun, the monument to the missing at Theosport, after the crucifixion and the insurrection and the resurrection, after I imagine myself as a child who has just been born, after we figure out that the real torturers and inquisitors are also ourselves, after I wonder what to tell the children about why we've destroyed the planet and why bombs are strewn all over the place, after I wonder if we can unite in prayer, discussion, and demonstration, and whether love can transform catastrophe into poetry. Thank you. I will announce each reader, but we won't do introductions because of, wanting to give people time to read. And the first reader will be Steve Dalachinsky. And in addition to the fact that Steve is a remarkable poet, it's his birthday today. Happy birthday, Steve.
He's been complaining all day and picking on his wife.
Come on down, Steve.
You've been complaining your whole life, so he came an hour early because he's the only one who actually only read the middle email. Whichever email said 2 o'clock, that's the one he read.
Taylor needs to
So he wants to call everybody else an asshole, but he's really the asshole. So I guess we're gonna keep it political. Okay, no, I'm gonna keep it moving. How's that? Okay. I like the whistle actually. It's like reading with music. And if the musician is louder than you, then you don't have to worry about whether your stuff sucks or not. This is called From the Back. I watch them from the back, the scroll on the wall. I watch them, the cats meow, ba-da-ba, abba, abba, a-b, abba, from the back, at the back, at the back. I watch them. I sit and I stare and I watch them in the real back, watching them. Material crystalliners, Pagliaccis, encore seekers. From here where I am, I watch them through windows of mist. Oh. Thank you, sir. No, I'll do that. I watch them from the back, the scroll on the wall. I watch them, the cats meow, bat out to back at the back. I guess I am really in fucked up shape. I sit and I stare and I watch them in the real back, watching them. Material crystalliners, Pagliaccis, encore seekers. From here where I am, I watch them. And long trails, windows of mists, of dissension and overtures from the back, stupid brutality roaming the streets, oblivious to trucks and barricades, falls itself and its cargo toward where I sit, watching them, red wine on a white sheet of paper, whispers spilling over and staining my eyes as I watch them, noticing again that I never notice the moon when I sit here watching myself, watching them. Where is the moon? Where is the moon, I ask on occasion. Bring the moon home now. Stop this foolish war, these endless barricades, oblivious to shortcuts and other obvious realities, and bring the moon home now. I watch them from the back of the scene, creating more predicaments, vulgar words and devout achievements, determined to say never, I myself a predicament, a prediction of approaching daylight and windfalls, shattering the angles in which mist falls, though the mist is so thick as I begin tracing it with my judgment, watching from the back. I kill bad Americans.
Dorothy does doing this.
I watch them setting the standard for poverty and wealth. I watch them tinkering with the message of fundamental trust. I watch as they find fortification against a greater God than themselves. I watch from the back as though thought itself becomes a single substance, a window of mist. I watch transcendent conditionality evaporate like a fine mist sprayed on the face. Complicit. I watch them appear and disappear like windows of mist, odorless windows of mist. Complicit. Like everyone, I am complicit, permeating a whipped mortal climb. I watch them. I watch them from the back. I think we've always been in an identity crisis in the world, and particularly in America, and I guess now it's probably as strong, if not stronger than ever. Because I am lonely and have this empty feeling since I was born, because I never felt I was in a country where I belong, not my home, flags, countries, people who know where they come from. I do not know where I come from. Where do I come from? Sometimes I feel like a motherless child. We go to here, there, where are we? No one has exclusivity on hurting others, rich, poor, second class. I'll carry this empty feeling to my grave, to here, there, where are we? I cannot trace my past, I cannot trace anything like most of you can. You're human. I love you. It's a lonely feeling, a heartbreaker. I am heartbroken, sad, happy all the time. I'm not blaming anyone. Maybe it's okay. I feel I have my own style. If you knew me for what I was, I feel like I should have my own country right here. I'll go back to Europe if you go back to Africa and you go back to Asia. It's the day after Independence Day, but it's not my independence. I want my independence. No blood negotiation. Maybe I'm drunk tonight. Maybe I'm not important, but I feel disenfranchised. I know nothing about myself. You edit my concepts and opinions. Do I have that right? Philosophy, psychology, Freud, science, that may all be okay, but they're your concepts. They're your concepts, not mine. Moon, brain, unacceptable. You don't know me. Colors, prints, cars, buildings. If I made them, they'd be different color patterns, like supervised guys. These things do not serve me well. I'm lonely, in love, no animosity, second, third class, venom, atrocity, conspiracy. This could easily be a conspiracy, but maybe not. The flag looks good, but it's not my flag. Something is missing in my life. Separation, black country, white country, green country, blue country. That might be good or bad. Population ratio, fine, great thing. Should I try to be you? Sometimes I feel like a motherless child. Make your own report card. Give yourself your own marks. I want to feel free to refine and govern myself. Do I have that right? I want to feel free to be the final editor of this work. Do I have that right? Sometimes I feel like a motherless child. Long, long way from home. Long, long way from home. Thank you, Dorothy.
And happy birthday.
Thank you,
Our
Dorothy.
next reader is Yuko Otomo. Please welcome wonderful Yuko Otomo.
Thank you, Dorothy, for organizing this and beautiful end of the summer garden with lots of mosquito. But it's okay. It's nice, beautiful. I didn't bring any so-called political protest poems, but we live in a tenement apartment, and I am an artist without a studio. Steve is an artist writer who has no study. So for me, that's a kind of protest to the society. Have no artists. So I'm reading two poems about our kitchen wall. We do everything on the kitchen table. Since this is his birthday, I read the poem for him first. It's a little book. Description of our kitchen wall for Steve. Brick by brick, sweat on sweat, nostalgia and dreams must have mixed briefly when he rested himself to take his lunch under this wide open sky a long time ago. Let me have a slight distance from our crumbling life. Let me have a breath similar to the one of the bricklayer who built this kitchen wall long time ago. A boy or woman, I cannot tell. She is staring at the running water. It is urgent. Her eyes gather all the intensity of existence. It almost stops the rapid flow of the water. She is mute. She is seeing something very clear. The sky is always there, above the desert, whether men walk there or not. Once, twice or more, I had a dream, crossing an endless space, carrying a box full of exotic spices. You're not there with me, but I heard your voice, and I walked with it in the middle of an enormous nowhere. I did not feel lost. Birds swim, a fish flies on this red brick wall. A mirror reflects an image of souls breaking a pine cone to scatter seeds. We sleep, we walk with this wall. We eat words, color, line, and form, breakfast and dinner with this wall. Dogwood is constantly in full bloom. Foliage is eternally at its height. 4 seasons, luck or no luck, does it really matter? Dark medieval days, in its darkness, a bell rang. Among Giotto's Beatitude, a paperboy stands underneath the displaced Joan of Arc. Then, cows in a meadow, a flute, a bone, a lute, a clock, a calendar, a pun, a perfect city, a perfect beach, a perfect mountain, a perfect cliff, a perfect trumpeter, a perfect bookstore, an island we live on, an open field. All float for nothing, as you say, all for nothing on this wall. An earthen jar filled with pebbles, rocks, feathers, and leaves, for nothing. A brick by brick, dust by dust, painting after painting, poem after poem. Do we have to know where we're going? Do we really have to know who we are? That's for Steve. Happy birthday. Even though you made me very angry.
Just think if I made
What's
you
new?
angry, how
What's
angry I
new?
must be.
But my anger didn't bother me, so that's okay. Now the poem for myself. More description of our kitchen wall for myself. I hate circus. I hate the circus. I do not like the zoo either. I ignore time most of the time. I love an open field. I detest gossip. I love my name, especially the way it's written in my mother tongue. I thank my parents, the earth, for bearing with me. I am cosmos. I am not into angels, but I care for them when they are broken, as I love a sad-faced woman when she is quiet. I understand a man's need for friendship. I think it's beautiful when 2 men walk together in light. I love to rest by a clear brook when I'm tired. I give all my emotions to the sky. I respect clouds in any form with any speed. I am not good at games. Likewise, I am still confused over how to use keys. I respect thinkers when they are accurate, kind, and pure. Of all music, I enjoy the lingering sound of a bell the most. I cherish the found objects of the city we carry home together. I am glad we agreed that Rembrandt did not need to paint a peasant woman behind that magnificent carpet. I am fascinated by my own fate of agony and ecstasy of living with this red brick kitchen wall, especially when the wall becomes the mirror, and the mirror the world. Thank you.
Oh wait, God. It's upside down back.